There have been massive cuts to the West Virginia football roster. Some left on their own, some were told to hit the road. Should we panic? A lot of people are panicking. I'm not.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia. Second time today. Do we deserve the due? That's going to be the question in segment 2. Do we deserve the due? I don't know. It's been a crazy day, right? And there's more coming, obviously. In the first segment, we're obviously going to talk about these mass portal exits. Entries, whatever you want to call it. I guess they would be technically entries. A lot to talk about there. A lot of players over 20. I mean, the number's fluid, so it was 22 when I went to type it out. Then I saw it was 23, and then it could be 24, 25. It's always going to change. So don't really rely on the thumbnail too much because it could be more, at some point in time. So. And then the second segment, we're going to talk about Brendan Loriot and some news that came out today about him possibly to West Virginia. Looking really good there. So that's the setup, guys. Let me give you the pitch. Before we do that, though, let's talk about our sponsor for today's episode, TurboTax. Are you ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed or guaranteed, like my Uncle Lionel would say? Head over to turbotax.com today and then get matched with your expert. That's guaranteed, bub. All right, guys. Thanks, Dylan, for updating the roster. It's a little bit hard to read for people, but I do appreciate you for doing that, man. It's putting in work, brother, as usual, in the chat. For those of you on podcast, you can't see it, but he is literally, I don't know if he copy and pasted it or if he typed it out, but he's put the entire roster into the chat here updated. So thank you to Dylan. Let's just go over the list. I think that's the best way to crack this case. And I'm going to give you, so here was my idea for it. I'll give you on a scale, because I'm going to have to get through a 10-minute segment with this. So I just read all the names and that's it. So, I mean, I'm going to have some comments on some of these guys. And let's go on a scale of 1 to 10. 0 being no, let's see, 0 being not a big hit to the roster, not a big hit to the future. 10 being, oh my God, this one hurt really bad, like James White, right? So that's how we're going to break this one down. I have my own, let me get my little Google thing pulled up here to read off of. All right, so I've got this broken down by position. So the only linebacker so far that I've got is Aiden Fleming, who was a freshman. That is for me about a 1 or a 2 on the scale. Not because he's not going to be any good or couldn't be any good. I just don't know. He's a freshman. So now let's move to defensive backs, where there are 1, 2, 3, 4 players on there. Chris Henry, who was a freshman, we had heard some pretty good things about. I'll give him a 3. Sammy Etienne, I'll give a 2. Zah Jackson, I'll give that one a 5. I think he had a chance to be a really good player. Unfortunately, they had to make some really hard decisions here, guys. I think some of these guys, and let me be clear on something too. A lot of people are saying roster cuts. According to the NCAA, you're not technically allowed to do that. And so while they are basically cuts, the way they're going about this, because these kids could keep their scholarship if they actually wanted, but who would want to be buried on the depth chart, right? So you would have to really be betting on yourself if you decided to stay after they wanted you to go. And I don't know who would do that, because they're basically telling kids like, hey, I'm not saying you got to go, but you're probably not going to play this year for sure. Maybe not even next year. So, that kind of talk. And who's going to stick around when you can go somewhere else, and unless you got some kind of big NIL deal that you don't want to lose or whatever, I don't know. But the majority of these players are going to have a shot to go somewhere else. Zah Jackson is a kid that I felt like had a good shot to be a good player for us. Aiden Tagalo Nelson, you know what, man? Here's a kid. I'll give him a 5 as well, even though he was never going to start, in my opinion, on football. He played both sports. He filled the roster for basketball as well. And I just want to give him his props for that, because I think he was a very, very good student athlete while he was at West Virginia. I remember covering him when he was signed. I thought it was a big signing the day he came. Unfortunately, there's been turnover. The coaches is gone. It came and gone. He's had several defensive back coaches since he's been here. So I really love Aiden Nelson. I do. I think he represented West Virginia great. And, in my conversations with him today, he was so nice. So I just wanted to tell Aiden thank you he came on the show when he first signed. And actually, a few of these guys did. We're going to talk about him. So thank you, Aiden, and I wish him the best too. I'll give him a 5 because he was valuable to both spots. At least he was there for us. Elijah Kinsler, another pretty. You want to talk about a surprising one? I mean, surprising in the sense that, he had a lot. He's got upside. This is a kid's going to be a good player someday. Not now though. That's the problem, and they don't have the room and depth wise to let these kids develop. This is where college football is, y'all. It's just flat out. This is where we are. So I put this one at about a 4. Makai Byerson, and I put that about a 3. Amir Leonard John Charles, that one's like a 6 for me. This is a kid that you look at his list of offers. These are freshmen. The majority of these are redshirt freshmen and freshmen, y'all. And what is Richrod? We went over almost every press conference Richrod has done, right? What has he said in every single one of these press conferences? He said we don't have enough experience. It's his biggest deal. So you've got Elijah Kinsler on the D-line. That's a redshirt freshman. Makai Byerson, redshirt freshman. Amir Leonard Gene Charles, freshman. Uloa, freshman. Orion Fisher, redshirt sophomore. Obina Onwuka, redshirt freshman. And Ramondo Johnson that just got here, highly rated freshman. So I'll give Amir Leonard John Charles a 6. Jonah Uloa, I'll give that one a 1. Orion Fisher, I'll give that one a 4. Obina Onwuka, I'll give that one a 5. And Ramondo Johnson, I'll give a 6 as well. Based on upside. These are all based on upside, not this year's impact. John Charles if you look at his offer list, it's extensive. He had Texas was on there. I think Michigan was on there. Ton of teams offered him. He will go to a Power 5 school. I'll be shocked if he doesn't. They just didn't have time to wait for him to develop. That's the thing. And the way A.J. Jackson was selecting players was they were letting them develop, right? And it's just what they were doing. Orion Fisher's another one, 6'6", huge wingspan. He was developing, apparently not fast enough. Real skinny guy. I want to thank Orion for coming on the show. Obina Onwuka, I appreciate him for coming on the show. Those guys came on when it was Mountaineer Paul Talks Football before it was Locked On West Virginia. And I just want to thank both of those guys for choosing to come on and be such great sports. Unfortunately, they had to move on, and it makes me sad, y'all. It really does. I really appreciate those guys for, I was pretty small. Not that I'm huge now, but it's a lot bigger now than it used to be. Like we've steadily got, if you count, all 3 that we go live on, we've got anywhere between 500 and 1,000 in the chat every single night now. It used to be 50, so it's grown. And so that's something to be proud of. And it's not like we're Ohio State. So I'm proud of it. On the O-line, you got Justin Terry, who was in the portal. I guess they asked him to come out of the portal. I don't know what happened there. I'll place a 4 on that one. Wesley Hancock, I put a 1 on. Jackson Aquarity, I don't want to dance on a kid's grave at all. I don't want to do that. But I just want to say, his family or somebody attacked me in the comments when he was signed because, I just didn't see what the coaching staff saw in him on tape. He's 6'7", 6'8", and he could probably turn into a great inline blocker someday. But as a pass catching tight end, I just didn't see it. I was not impressed. And I think there's an obvious reason why he is going. And like I said, not dancing on the kid's grave. I'm just saying I always felt like he wasn't really good enough. So I was surprised. But then again, they had these offers like that where it was like, if you just had the right frame, they were going to offer you. So that was the Neil Brown era of things. But I place a 2 or a 3 on Aquarity. Let's go to break. We'll get on the other side of the break here. We'll break down the rest of these guys that are gone. There's a couple of other big names on the list. And then we'll also talk about a possible portal addition in basketball, which would be enormous. So we got a lot to talk about still. Stick around. We'll go through it. This is Locked On West Virginia. This episode also going to be brought to you by TurboTax, guys. Taxes used to be worrying, waiting if you were going to get any money back, and then worrying, wondering, and waiting some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today, Junior. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-life updates on the progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find every deduction possible. They're going to file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. All that way that you can get your money back, guaranteed. No waiting, wondering, or worrying this time. Now that is what I call taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, guys. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. You can see guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. It's segment 2. Do we deserve the due? I think we deserve some due today. Second live of the day, right? And this one is icy, baby. Look, it's icy, super icy. It's the best. So we got a little shot at doing this now. Let's talk a little bit about a couple things here. All right. So let's get back to this list again. We left off on Jackson Aquarity, and then you've got Johnny Pascuzzi, who was a senior, right, that had transferred in from Iowa. We thought was going to be an impact player. He gone. He out. Bye-bye. I'll place that one at a 5. TJ Johnson, wide receivers now as we get into wide receivers. TJ Johnson, man, my guy. Obviously, his brother's Travis, and everybody and their mom wanted him. Well, apparently, since he wasn't going to commit, there was no reason to keep TJ anymore. I sometimes wondered, was TJ on the roster just because they wanted to get Travis someday? Obviously, he was a legacy kid. TJ was so nice. Came on the show as well. Somebody I have a lot of respect for. I thought he was going to make an impact for us someday, guys. I really did. He was a tight end that had played the slot receiver in high school, and he was like a tweener. I thought he would eventually make an impact because of his size. He just never did. So he's only a redshirt sophomore, but you would have thought he would have made some type of impact by now, or at least would hurt his name some. I'll place that one at a 4, though. Dom Collins, this is a big one for some people, a West Virginia kid who had that 4.3 speed, one of the fastest players on the team. A lot of people wanted him to stay around. Don't know if it's his. And look, here's the other thing. Some of these, the coaching staff may have wanted. There could be a couple of these guys that are leaving on their own behest. Really don't know the answers. We'll find out later as the days go on. Dom Collins could be one. I'm assuming they probably cut him. He falls right in line with what they've been cutting, which is redshirt freshmen with little experience. They need experienced bodies. I hate to label it that bodies. It's like so it's so non-personal. I don't like it. But anyways, they need people in the wide receiver room. Dom Collins, a redshirt freshman, he's gone. So small in stature, really, really fast. But they've got players like that on the roster already. And so I place him at a 5 because of the upside. This one here is a 7 for me, Brandon Raymond, 4-star receiver. That he came over with Josiah Trotter, not Porter. They went to the same high school there at St. Joe's, and I thought for sure he was going to make an impact. We'd heard a lot of great things about him last year. For whatever reason, man, they have let him go. I think he is going to be a good player someday. He's got the profile, 4-star player and all that stuff. Michael Davis, and look, it could be his decision, like I said. Michael Davis, freshman. Some of these guys' names I'd only heard once or twice. I'm having to refresh who I even are. 2 on him. Andrew Ferris, 2 on him. These are freshmen and redshirt freshmen. And then you've got one here that a little bit shocking. LJ Turner, who we just got out of the portal, apparently didn't perform up to par, which is crazy, guys. We've got guys coming into the portal to West Virginia that aren't even – they're not even playing a snap for the university, and they're transferring back out before the season even starts. Like, what a wild time we live in. LJ Turner, I put a 6 on. I thought he was going to be a good player. I still think he will be a good player. It's just that there's too many guys in front of him. And then you got Travion Dunbar, who is a redshirt freshman and who probably would have been a good player at some point in time, but he's a redshirt freshman, right? Maybe they got caught TikToking. Good Lord, Dime. Dime Drawer in my comment section said maybe they got caught TikToking. That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny. So that's the list that I have so far. There could be more. There probably are more that we don't know about. I'm sure some of the bigger names maybe we'll hear about soon. I'm assuming there'll be a couple. But then again, maybe we'll get lucky and all the people or most of the people they want to keep will stay, and the people they don't will go. Like, we need a W, guys. We need at least one thing to go right for us, please. So I just want to say thank you to all the student athletes that were at West Virginia, whether you were a hired hitman, mercenary, whether you were here because you loved the state, whether you were here because you were just trying to make it in this life, or anything in between. Thank you for your time at West Virginia, representing our state. The vast majority of you guys did it with pride. And I just want to say that I hate, capital H hate, the way the sport is right now. I don't like this at all. I don't know anybody that does. Literally, can you find somebody that likes the way the sport is right now? Can you find somebody that actually believes this is a sustainable model for the future? Or is this just, is it going to take – how long is it going to take us to accept this, I wonder? Because, I think it could be like this for another 5 years, and I would probably still feel really just weird about it. It's just weird to put these kids – some of these kids are just 17 and 18 years old. I think we had one that may have been 17 or close to that. Maybe he was 18, but 18. Let's even say 18. Can you remember when you were 18, guys? I was in Marine Corps boot camp when I was 18. Like, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know crap. And you're asking these kids to make financial decisions, placing worth and value on them. Like, I just hope that some of these kids don't allow this to impact them, like, on a, emotional level or Like, I hope they don't assign this worth to them long term. Because there are going to be kids that this crushes. They're asked to leave. They feel like they're not good enough, and some kids don't recover as easy as others. Some will do great. So I just want to say that I'm a softie, though. So these days, there was a time when I was not, but to these days, I definitely am, and I have a soft spot for these kids because I feel like, they're just dealing with the situation they've been given. Sure, some of them, maybe the top, maybe 10% of the players do well, but what's that in the grand scheme of things? You got kids that are moving around places for 30 grand. It's not sustainable. It's like 30 grand's a car. What? When they drive their car around and say, yeah, when I was in, like, 10 years from now, a guy's going to be 28 years old talking about, yeah, my NIL money bought me that. Oh, that's awesome. What else did you do with it? Nothing. Like, it's just going to be it's just negative all the way around. Rant over. Let's talk about Brendan Laureate next, guys, as we have some pretty good leads on the next West Virginia basketball commit. We'll talk about him next. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia also going to be brought to you by none other than, of course, we're talking about Monarch Money on today's episode. And we love Monarch Money because if you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app, though. It's a complete financial command center. That's right. You're literally in a command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending in one place, which is really important as the market topsy-turvy today. We know that. Stop just managing your money and start building your wealth like a king or a queen. Surprising insights, what I say, or when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on DoorDash, Uber Eats, and now I budget smarter and save more, which is actually true. Today I went to the grocery store. I went Krogering today, and I got beans and weenies. I got some mashed potatoes. What else did I get? I got some Gatorade. I got a couple other things, guys. So I'm not going to get that Taco Bell. I'm not going to get that Mexican pizza that I want later, all right? Quit hounding me about it. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals, which is hard to do sometimes. Easy collaboration, though. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without the stress. Just take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Do it. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for $50 off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your very first year, baby. Pretty good. All right, guys. Welcome to segment 3. No Mexican pizza for me, I know. So I'm a Mexican pizza freak. All right. I'm just going to get one more sip of the dew. I feel like Mean Green, it adds up, right? The North Texas Mean Green, the dew, it kind of adds up, right? It's a similar color scheme, just a little bit of the dew. It's still cold. Like on Waterboy, whenever she grabs his, whatever that is, the thing that stays cold, she grabs it, still cold. That's how I just felt. My random brain. Sorry, I'm getting on track here. Okay. Brendan Laureate is a player that obviously came off the bench for FAU, right, guys, and went to the Final Four with that team. And as a kid that Dusty May said, look, I couldn't really get as much out of him as Ross Hodge did. That's pretty high praise because Ross Hodge turned him into the 6th man of the year in the conference for North Texas. 11 points a game, can literally jump out of the gym. Literally out of the gym. Like he's like Michael Vick in that one video where he throws the ball out of the stadium. He's like that, except he can bounce his head straight up off the rim. He's an elite athlete. That's not even an exaggeration. Let me see if I can get something on X here to show you. Let's see, because I don't know how many of you guys have actually seen. Okay. So the deal with him is he's come in with a no contact tag, which is like basically saying, hey, attack me, right? Which is obvious, but it means that there's already a suitor in place for him. And that's what we want, right? So I'm going to show you guys a clip here of Lorient, and this I think is in high school, but this gives you the idea of just how springy of an athlete he is, just how great of a handle he has. And he's a 3-level scorer. You know, he shot in the high 40s from 3, but he only shot 1 a game. So it's not a great representation. Probably his per 40 minutes, I would say he's probably 35, 37-ish, which is really good. And maybe you can get a kid like this to be more aggressive and have just a much better version of Toby Oconee is what I look at him as. But he is an elite defender, that's his specialty. He jumps completely out of the gym. And as long as this, he's putting his name in the draft, right? And he's going to get a grade, and they're going to tell him what he needs to get better at, which probably mean to be shoot more. And as long as no other team offers him $1 billion, or the NBA says, hey man, you're a freaking first rounder, like you're one of them sleepers, he's going to end up at West Virginia. That's the report from Draft Express. He's going to follow Ross Hodge to West Virginia by all reports. And guys, this is not just an okay ad if we get him. This is like, oh yeah, my socks are not completely off kind of ad, in my opinion. Here he is in the white jersey, number 5. Now, this is before he even went to FAU, but just watch the athleticism here as we move through here. All right, let's roll. Oh, let me turn that down a little bit. Okay. Actually, in case there's a copyright, I better just turn it all the way off. So he's going to cross this kid over and then dunk. Cross. Boom. Pretty nice, right? And there's a couple others like that on here of him. Let me see if I can find one. Okay. So, yeah, here's one right here that I like. Yeah. He really throws that thing down, man. And he does more than just this. Obviously, he's jumping from pretty far out there. As you can see, gets way up there. So, and this is well before between the legs dunk. Pretty good, right? So anyways, would be a great ad for West Virginia and somebody that I would truly be excited to see in a Mountaineers uniform as you see him playing for FAU, playing against South Carolina right there. I think that was the NCAA tournament. And look, West Virginia's got the inside track here, so no reason to panic with him. Let's just hope that that he, ends up coming to West Virginia. Nobody poaches him or anything like that, because in today's day and age, anything's possible, and it is West Virginia after all. We have to realize, like, bad things kind of happen to us sometimes, don't they? But overall, guys, my final thoughts here are just relax over the portal entries. Like I told you guys on earlier today when we talked about Obioha, right? I told you 20 to 30 are going to enter the portal earlier. This is before anybody ever went in today, because it's been known, from those of us that follow it closely over the last few days, that this is going to happen because of the math, right? If you've got to get to 105 and your roster is at, what was it, at 118 with 18 coming into the summer or whatever it was, and you've got to lose at least 25 guys to get down to the 105 or whatever it is. I mean, look, guys, I personally think they're going to want to add at least 10 to 15 guys in this upcoming portal. So there could be some starters leave. There could be. But I think personally they're really going to come out swinging for this next round. And I think we might even see some seriously, maybe some power four guys come in. I think they're going to have to really think about it, right? Like if they want some really good experienced talent to come in, it's going to have to be power four or really good group of five. So we'll see the route they go. I trust their evaluation. I just think it's a safe bet if you can get the power four kids. And where's this money? Like we haven't necessarily seen the huge ads outside of like 3 or 4 guys, right? Like we saw the obviously Jamori, we saw Michael Coates. We've seen a couple other guys come in that were really good ads. I mean, Jamori Robinson's a very good ad. Everybody wanted him. So, I mean, I consider that like an 8 out of 10 ad, right? Because he's not a quarterback, but he's a pass rusher. Is he like an elite offensive lineman or somebody that really impacts the game on every play? I don't know. But I think he's going to be one of the bigger players we have this year as far as an impact standpoint. But I think, you go out and you add if you can. And based on these cuts are telling us a lot. They need one. They're going to go out and get wide receiver help. They're either set or they need one more running back from what I hear. Offensive line is going to be something they go after. They're just not 100% happy with it. I don't know if they're good with the starters or not, or if they think they need some depth right behind starters. But I'm hearing they need to go get at least one real big time starter. So, there have been guys in the market that they could have got. The Louisville transfer from a few months ago would have been a huge impact. We have Will Reed coming in. Somebody said he's not on the roster yet, but he's not going to be added to there till the summer. So I wouldn't expect him to be on there now. But there's some areas of need, right? So what I'll probably do is I'll get with which thank you to Raven and Shaq, by the way, who are they're trying to help me fix my mic situation, which I do appreciate. But also I'm going to get with a couple of people tomorrow, and we're going to start making a list and start looking over some things. And then I'm also going to do my research on the roster and try to figure out, because there's a general consensus for like positions. Like, okay, you want 4 quarterbacks, you want 3 running backs, you want 12 to 15 offensive linemen, right? And so you try to make those puzzle pieces fit. I'm going to try to get an episode together based around that, where I think the numbers are going to be needed at, because they're going to be very, very picky, I think, but they're also going to add numbers to places, just like I said, at different spots. So we'll see exactly what happens here on that front. Somebody saying a North Texas player hit the portal. When did this happen? Let me go back to X and see when exactly it happened. It's probably Jasper, if I had to guess. And we know he's got an extra year of eligibility, but not 100% sure on, let's see. No, that's not it. I'll check it out after the show. Can't be looking at it right now, but if it is by any chance Jasper Floyd, that would be somebody we need to watch as well, who was a guard that would – the 2 guys that were going to come with Hodge that most people accept as fact were Floyd and Lorient. So if you can get both, maybe you do. I know Lorient's a power 4 guy. I don't know if Floyd necessarily is. If they bring him in, maybe he comes in to be a backup. But I don't buy him as a starter personally. But maybe Ross Hodge does, and we just have to roll with what he thinks at this point. So that's all I got, guys. Thanks for joining for the second time today. If anything major happens, we lose any major players, which is very well could happen. Do I think a Nico or a Jaheim White or a Jalen Henderson or anybody like that's going to leave? I don't. Do I think it could happen? Absolutely. Could a guy like Xavier Bosley or a guy like just name a guy that's a major player on the offense or defense. Yeah, absolutely they could. Not expecting it, but we'll just have to play it by ear. I've got people that send me 1 million messages a day when things happen, so I can't possibly miss it. Just because of math, Like there are so many people that send me messages like I'm usually like most of the time it's like 42 seconds ago when I see something happen. So I'll get it to you as quick as anybody can if it happens. Let's pray it goes well. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a great week. Have a great evening. And I'm out of here.